Hey TV fans, Bored now back with you on this video. I'm going to be talking about episode 4 of the first season of Harlan Coben's Shelter. The episode is called Phantom Thread. Full spoilers from the start of this review as always, and just to remind you, if you want to help support the channel and help get this video out to more people, if you could like it, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, but also if you have any thoughts, any reactions to my thoughts, then be sure to leave a comment as well, and also share the video out to your friends. So yeah, just thought I'd remind you at the start. And to sum up my thoughts on episode 4, it's another very middling episode. Like, there's things in it I like, there's some pretty decent stuff with at least some of the characters, and also some of the stuff involving the mystery I think is solid enough. It's not like the greatest thing ever, and bits of it I'm not that keen on, but it's solid enough. We do get a little bit more meat on the bone this episode, but there's definitely a lot of the things dragging it down which I didn't like about the opening 3. So there's a scene about halfway through this episode which really sums up a big problem with the show. So they return to this thing of them staging a version of the Phantom of the Opera, like the big school musical, and this is something which Spoon is obsessed with. He's determined to get this part, so he goes along to the audition, and we get a big drawn out scene where he's struggling to get the confidence to sing. He's not performing very well. You get like the nasty jock characters mocking him, and it's a very predictable scene, because what then happens is that Uma starts singing like she's watching from the sidelines, and it is that sort of scene that we've seen a million times before, where like the nerdy sort of character is being bullied and mocked and struggling to get this performance out. So his friend, who just happens to have a really good voice, stands up for him, and she starts singing from the side of the stage. So they start singing together on the stage, and things turn out really well. They get to like turn things around on the bullies. You also get a bit more with this girl who's hanging around, who clearly has an interest in Uma, and there seems to be like an attraction there, so we get a little bit more of their slowly forming dynamic, and we get to see like them stand up to the bullies a little bit like afterwards. So, but the point that I'm making about the scene is not that it's a bad scene necessarily. I think it's a pretty decent scene, and it at least has a decent payoff with them turning things around on the bullies and stuff like that. But the problem is that the scene just drags on too long. It should be cut down. It doesn't have to be as long as it is. As I said, it is a little bit cliched, so that's a thing as well, but like overall, I don't mind the scene too much. I just think it should have been a shorter scene. They should have got to the point of the scene a lot quicker. And that just sums up a lot of the problems I have with this show, is that the pacing really drags at times. There's whole scenes that don't need to be as long as they are. I'm thinking also of the school assembly scene from a couple of episodes ago, where they first announced they were doing this. And I've got to say, I said it before, then Spoon is my least favourite of the main trio. And that applies in this, because although there's moments with him that I do like in this episode, there's also moments where he is just going on and on too much about like the Phantom of the Opera thing. And it's like someone like Uma is trying to move on and like trying to get something found out about the actual case and the events with Ashley, the missing girl, and he keeps like jumping in and like interrupting and saying something about that. So that did really great in this episode. But I think in this show so far, the pacing has dragged at times. Like, there's definitely could be tighter editing, I feel. So, and another thing which is drawn out to the end of the episode, which I guess makes sense, is then they find out from seeing the video footage, then Rachel has the locker combination for Ashley's locker, and they see her like open the locker, so they're like, well, what's the deal with this? And at one point Mickey asks her, like, in school, and she's hesitating to answer, and she's then saved by her boyfriend, and they have a bit of a scene. And it's not till the very end of the episode where it's actually revealed, like, Mickey comes to her and she gives him, like, the backstory of what exactly happened. And that's another thing about this show, is when you see that flashback, it's actually really silly, because you get, like, these two guys coming after Ashley, and, like, the guys that we've seen, like, stalking them, and I think they're like the Bat Lady guys, but Rachel comes out of nowhere and saves her, but she basically is able to take out one of these guys, which is like just ridiculous. But there's just certain scenes like that are in this which are like a bit of a goofy action style movie, and the whole reveal is that Ashley has been staying at her house all this time, because she doesn't actually tell her, that being Rachel, what exactly is going on, but she just says, we need to get out of here, it's not safe, and Rachel lets her stay at her house. So when Mickey comes over, she reveals that she's in the pool house, and I think they're about to go and see her, apparently, but then this guy shows up who I think is meant to be the paramedic, but not really, and that's a big thing in the episode, because it appears as though Bat Lady has like photoshopped the picture of him to make it look like it's the same guy from the 40s who killed her father, and so there's a little bit of a convoluted reason for this, and you get a bit of a scene with her and the school teacher, the one played by the actress out of Greece. I can't remember the character's name, like Mari, something like that, but Marie maybe. But anyway, they have a bit of a disagreement, because Marie's like, yeah, you've obviously photoshopped this. This is in like bad taste, sort of thing. And it's almost like they're just like, she's just using Mickey for her own end, so she's manipulating it. So yeah, the cliffhanger is at the end where this guy shows up at the house when Mickey's there, and he's about to see Ashley. So that's kind of the cliffhanger at the end of the episode, and we get a little bit more with Kirsten Zimmer's character, like her relationship with Hannah, which they kissed in the last episode, and we get a bit of backstory because we see that there was like a flirtation or an attraction between them back in school, but at the same time they both had boyfriends, or Hannah certainly did, and it's just showing that this dates back a long way. And there's a little bit more awkward tension in this, where Hannah like says, why don't we go for like a coffee or something like that, go out for a drink somewhere, and she just puts it as like a casual like social event, but like the Kirsten Zimmer character is like nervous about this, like Shelley, that's her name, she after the kiss she doesn't think it's a good idea. But that's the thing, they kind of go out, And I will say, although some of this stuff, again, is stuff which feels a bit like padding and stuff that doesn't necessarily connect that much to the main plot, I do enjoy Kirsten Zimmer. Again, I enjoy her personality in this. I think the character's quite likeable as well. I quite like the bond with her and Mickey, and the stuff with her doing the exercise at the start of the episode. It is one of the best scenes in the episode. She is really funny in that scene when she's like doing the stuff where she's got like the exercise watch, and like the exercise watch it is something like it like has a message on it or something. It's like, I can't remember what it said. It's like, oh, are you in dance or something, or distress, or I can't remember. Are you dead or something? It's something like that. It's something like funny like that. And she's like, "Fuck you." It's a funny scene. It's funny anyway, but she makes it even more funny with her reaction. So I can't complain too much like this, but yeah, it's another very hit and miss episode. You also get more stuff with Bat Lady. You get the cop, like the father of like the jock character, Hannah's husband. Basically, based on the tip, he goes around there because he suspects and then there's a body in the ground, and he wants permission to dig it up, and she at first is hesitant but sort of lets him, well, because he threatens to go and get a warrant, so in the end that sort of forces her hand, but he doesn't recognise her, but she knows who he is, and he digs up the ground, and there's this moment of tension, or there's meant to be tension, because we're meant to think as the audience, is the body gonna be there? And they've obviously moved it, because when he digs it up, there's nothing there. But there's a moment of tension there, and like a close escape. So I think that's mostly the episode. It's an alright episode. That's all I can say. It's a bit middling. Like, there was some decent stuff with like the plot, with the main sort of mystery. Some of that stuff was okay, and again, some decent stuff with the core characters. There's some nice scenes actually with Mickey and with Emma. I think their sort of chemistry and bond is building quite nicely. Once again, I think Spoon is the weak link of the three as well, but there you have it. That's the 4th episode of Shelter. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. Share me out on social media, and look forward for more TV reviews soon. Take care, guys. See you again soon.